tax hike. Congress has you paying more payroll taxes this year, while you'll be bringing home less bacon.
School remodel. One high school is getting a full-on makeover, and not everyone is happy about it.
And renting wheels. A BYU program lets students borrow a bike to get to class. How you can get your hands on a set of handlebars. I'm Kristen Firmage.
And I'm Karen Sullivan. It's Monday, February 4th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
Bush-era tax cuts are officially over, and you will be taking home less money as a result. I'm with 11 News reporter John Hansen. John, what does this mean for workers?
Now, Karen, as you pick up your first paycheck of the year, you may notice that it weighs just a little bit less than the ones last year. Workers are taking this as a harsh blow now that they're getting their first paycheck under new tax rules. Third grade teacher Talise Baxter started this year like every other one, going to work and helping mold the next generation of leaders, doctors, and parents. When she got her first paycheck of 2013, she got quite the shock as she noticed her take-home pay had gone down.
I was very mad. Yeah, I was really upset. We had a little meeting with our third grade team, and I had a little conversation about it.
That's because for the past 2 years, Talise and her fellow teachers have been paying slightly less to the Social Security tax fund because of the Bush-era middle-class tax cuts. Those went away on December 31st.
So for 2011 and 2012, taxpayers earning wages were paying 4.2% of their wages for a Social Security tax. But now, beginning in 2013, they'll be paying 6.2%.
That may not seem like much, but even a small change takes its toll on those already struggling to make it by.
I live paycheck to paycheck, so it's just super frustrating that now I have to refix that and re-budget, and super discouraging.
No one escapes the IRS, but there are some that will feel this increase more than others.
In the end, this is going to affect the lower income taxpayers much more than it will the higher income taxpayers.
The Obama administration let the Bush-era tax cuts expire as part of its plan to stop borrowing and improve the national budget.
Now, John, do they know how much more money they'll get now that the tax cuts are over?
Yes, they plan on getting an additional $15 billion more in revenue than they had last year, and that will help them cut back on spending as well as the borrowing.
Okay, thanks, John.
A sister missionary of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints died Friday night in an Oklahoma City car accident. 22-year-old Elisa Renee Smith of Benton, Arkansas, was hit by a truck while riding her bike. The LDS Church released a statement saying, "The entire church grieves at her passing, and we pray for her family and friends at this difficult time." A staph infection combined with the flu took the life of a Provo High School student. Students at Timpview High School are mourning the death of Parker Allred. He died Saturday at Primary Children's Hospital. Doctors say his death from the virus is uncommon. Allred was 6'1", 200 pounds, and played football and water polo at his high school.
Plans are underway to rebuild part of Lehigh High School this fall, and that has some people concerned about how the makeover will affect their wallets. As 11 News reporter Allie Monson shows us, those taxpayers are taking to the web.
It began as an idea 14 years ago. The first phase of reconstruction happened 4 years later. Now, phase 2 of the rebuild of Lehigh High School is set to begin this fall, which has some people in Lehigh excited, but others wondering if the money could be used elsewhere.
They have definitely been involved in the process when it comes to the plans and, how are we going to address this problem and, things that come up.
People are concerned about the $5.5 million it will cost, especially with the district's plans to build another high school on 3200 North and Center Street next spring.
People have posted their feedback on forums like this one, where discussions about what is really best for the city have begun.
We need to make sure we're not just focusing on the new school, that we're focusing on the current school so that one student's not at a disadvantage for being at one school or the other.
Though some students will graduate before the rebuild is done in 2014, they're still excited about expanding the school. and eventually getting rid of those portable classrooms.
Also, a problem with going out there is you see all these kids slipping all the time in the ice. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's a little bit sad, but we kind of get used to it, and everyone just laughs because everyone takes a turn.
In Lehigh, Allie Monson, 11 News.
This fall's rebuild will include the addition of a 3-story building that will add 12 to 16 classrooms to the school.
A man is in critical condition after driving his truck into the wing of a private plane. The collision caused a fuel leak at the Salt Lake Airport, and officials called hazmat teams to clean up the mess. Facts about his injuries are not yet available, and airport officials say the cause of the accident is still under investigation. For some students who don't have cars, walking to class can seem like crossing the plains, especially if they live far away. 11 News reporter Haley Shockless is live on BYU campus. Haley, have these students found another way to get to school?
Some students ride their bikes to campus if they don't have time to walk, but other students I talked to say the BYU bike rental program is making their commute a little easier. BYU sophomore Shaylee Sorensen rides her bike almost every day.
I had a car in Florida, but we didn't think it would make it out here.
Sorensen lives in YView, and with no car, she says walking to campus can be a little challenging.
When I got here, it was freezing cold, and it's like 1.5 miles to school, so I was like, I've got to do something else. I don't know how to drive in snow either.
That's when Sorensen found a quicker way to travel around town. BYU created a bike sharing program, which means students who live in Heritage or YView can grab some wheels. And those wheels help about 50 students like Sorensen get around campus. They can rent bikes for a semester or term.
Things are fairly close, but it still gets pretty time-consuming to walk around. And so it just really facilitates them and their life as students to be able to have a slightly quicker form of transportation.
Thomas says biking can improve the environment, and it's something Sorensen says is a quicker way to travel.
When I'm running late to class and stuff, and I don't have time to walk or I'm going to be late, then taking the bike is a better option.
And in rain, snow, or shine, you might find more bikes popping up on campus, ready to ride. Now, BYU says the bike sharing program actually started out as a pilot test, but it will remain in full fleet throughout spring and summer terms. Live on BYU campus, I'm Haley Shockless, 11 News.
So Haley, can any BYU students rent these bikes?
For now, it's only for students who live in on-campus housing, so that includes YView or Heritage, but not Helaman Halls. BYU does say that they don't have any plans to expand the program anytime soon.
Okay, thank you, Haley.
111 News at noon returns. Hacker proofing. Not everyone is safe online. How you can protect your identity.
In genetic therapy, a BYU professor found a way to better treat cancer. Why this could change the way the medical field sees the disease. Stay with us.
A team of BYU researchers found a particular gene that could predict a cancer patient's chance of survival. 11 News reporter Jen Benson met with the researchers. Jen, how is this going to affect cancer treatment?
Well, they say instead of treating everyone the same way, they can actually individualize treatment, making it more effective. They can personalize the plans based on genes and therapeutic needs.
Dr. David Bears and his colleagues studied 19 myeloma cancer patients, testing biopsied cell samples and studying them at a genetic level.
We asked the question statistically, is there a single gene that could represent the whole set in terms of predicting poor prognosis for the patient? And what we found is there's a single gene that could do that.
They discovered the gene called NEC2 is a predictor of poor therapy. It can predict how a patient responds and how the cancer will grow. Bear says this discovery will change doctors' decisions for future treatments.
Some of those drugs that we use, and we still use today, damage DNA. They stop cell division from happening. They poison certain parts of the metabolic machinery inside of cells. And so they're generally toxic to cells that are rapidly dividing.
Bear says through individual analysis, doctors can determine a patient's necessary therapeutic plan based on their genes.
Being able to see progress in finding the cure and helping people to live better, longer lives it's a great thing.
Researchers say they hope this discovery can help them develop a drug that kills cancer cells without harming healthy ones. Bear says he's anxious to see the discovery advance into the clinic and help more patients.
Dr. Bears told me he also found that the effects of NEC2 also apply to breast cancer, ovarian cancer, lung cancer, and leukemia. Bears says he expects these cancers to respond the same way and anticipates this discovery will save thousands of lives. Karen?
What an amazing discovery. Thanks, Jen. President Obama reaffirmed his position yesterday that the Boy Scouts should allow gays to participate in scouting. The Scouts announced last week that they are considering changes to the long-standing policy that excludes homosexuals. The Scouts Executive Board meets this week in Dallas to discuss and maybe vote on the issue.
Whether you're shopping, messaging friends, or just surfing the web, you may want to think twice before clicking the mouse. 11 News reporter Roger Sanchez shows us how one wrong move on the screen can mean hackers grabbing your personal information.
Something simple as clicking on a pop-up ad on Facebook or entering the wrong web address can make your computer a target of viruses and the hackers who created them. Computer experts say a simple mistake can unlock the door to online criminal activity. That wrong click of the mouse easily gives hackers access to your personal files in a matter of seconds.
The embedded code within the web page they were reading from, they were downloading. So their browser will go ahead and execute the code in the background and therefore activate the virus and open up the back door for the hacker to get in.
Many people manage their finances online, but experts say without certain safeguards, personal information like credit card numbers can get in the hands of online hackers. A simple way to protect yourself is to make sure your computer antivirus software is up to date.
Whether you're doing research or looking for Word, take caution because it can leave your computer open to viruses.
Chow suggests one simple rule to live by to keep your computer safe.
Be aware of a website you're going to visit.
At all times, it's best to use trusted and secure websites no matter what you're doing online. In Provo, Roger Sanchez, 11 News.
Experts suggest using an external hard drive to back up your system to avoid information lost to a computer virus and to keep out criminals.
Ariel, I'm getting sick of this bad air quality.
Are we going to be able to breathe easier anytime soon?
You know what, there is poor air quality, but we're expecting some snow this weekend, and that storm should push it out. Your 11 News weather when we return. Okay, taking a look outside here in Provo, this shot is taken up at Y Mountain, and you can see it over the valley. This is BYU campus right here. We definitely have some clouds and fog inversion. From that snow on the ground, keeping those cooler temperatures trapped down, that's where we're getting the foggy look. Currently in Provo, we're at 31 degrees Fahrenheit with humidity 12% and calm wind speeds. Patchy fog, bad air quality today is what we're looking at. What to expect this evening? We're going to be at 16 degrees for our low, cloudy from the fog, and sunset at 5:50 p.m. As far as the fog, up in the mountains, we have clear air. It's nice and sunny up there, so if you're hitting the slopes looking to go skiing or snowboarding, you're going to have wonderful weather up there. However, you get below 6,000 feet, and there's air alert out for the pollution and the fog and the clouds, and a lot less sunshine. So it is sunny, it's just not getting through the clouds. Up, taking a look at the bigger picture, we have some storm systems up here with some low pressure and high pressure moving mostly around up above us, and we have a little bit of it hitting the north part of Utah, but for the most part we're pretty clear. Wednesday, storms will come through and push out that inversion hopefully. So, and we'll talk about that in a little in the 5-day forecast. But 23 for Logan, highs across the state. So 23 for Logan, Salt Lake at 32. When we get back down to St. George and it's a nice 61 degrees, you want some warmer weather, you know where to go. But yeah, a lot across the state we have some cooler, same temperatures, but south it's a little warmer. 60 degrees and 38 for our southern Utah highs, so 60 today, and then throughout the week it gets a little colder Friday. So a cold front coming in Friday, but some pretty consistent temperatures throughout the week. Northern Utah 5-day forecast, same thing, pretty consistent temperatures throughout the week. Like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to change a little, but have a bit of the same temperatures with some snow possibly on Friday. So that's something to look forward to. So pretty consistent temperatures, and like I said, snow coming in on Friday, and so we'll have a little bit of a change, and that should clear out the inversion that we've been having.
Well, good. I know where I'm going to go this weekend, hitting those slopes.
Yeah. Thanks, Ariel. So Danny's Super Bowl was last night. Quite a game, don't you think?
Kristen,
All of us know you way too well to actually believe you watched anything other than the commercials. But next on sports, quaff the Raven nevermore. After 4 straight playoff appearances and no rings to show for it, Joe Flacco led the Baltimore Ravens to the Telltale Trophy. And still number 1, the men's volleyball team dug themselves out of a loss to run down the Cal State Northridge Matadors. Sports is next. Stay tuned. It's the biggest sporting event of the year. The 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens worked out their issues in a family affair of Super Bowl proportions from the Superdome in New Orleans. Harbaugh versus Harbaugh and the last hurrah for Ray Lewis. The Ravens ravaged the 49ers in the first half, running the score up with a 56-yard pass to Jacoby Jones, who was down but not out and ran it into the end zone. Already up 18 points, Jones did it again, burning the 49ers with a 108-yard kickoff return to start the second half. That's a Super Bowl record. If you thought that wasn't impressive, you should watch this celebration dance. Slowing the Ravens' roll, the Superdome got super dark. Deep into that darkness peering, long they stood there wondering, fearing. But the power outage gave San Francisco the surge it was looking for. Kaepernick found Crabtree for the Niners' first touchdown of the game halfway through the third quarter and ran it in himself in the fourth, showing us what Kaepernicking is all about. With less than 2 minutes in the game, the 49ers had 4 chances for the win from the 7-yard line, but couldn't close the deal. They gained 2 yards and nothing more. The sibling rivalry ended with a Raven 34-31 win, and Ray Lewis retires on top. Baltimore wins their second Super Bowl in the team's 17-year history. What started out as a close game ended in a 17-point victory over Santa Clara for the BYU men's basketball team. The Cougars controlled the court thanks to Carlino. Matt and his Band-Aids scored a season-high 28 points against the Broncos, but not all on his own. Tyler Haws scored 24 points, and Brandon Davies had his third double-double in a row with 16 points and 11 boards. Josh Sharp put on a show, as usual, with 14 points. Senior Brock Zylstra celebrated his 25th birthday the right way, hitting a big 3 in the second half, closing out the game with a final score of 96-79. Coach Rose was happy with the team's performance.
It was a good week for our guys, and look forward to our game with San Diego.
The women's basketball team stampeded the Santa Clara Broncos this weekend with a big win on the road. The Broncos were no match for Steed's 17 points and Kaylani Unga's 7 rebounds. No one could contain the Cougars. The solid win clinched second place in the West Coast Conference and improved our record to 15-6 on the season, 6-2 in conference play. Steed's stellar play earned her College Sports Madness West Coast Women's Basketball Player of the Week honors. After the tough loss to number 7 Long Beach State Friday night, our number 1 ranked volleyball team bounced back with a win over Cal State Northridge on Saturday. BYU blew through the first 2 sets, with kills coming from Taylor Sander, Michael Hatch, and Ben Patched, but faced trouble during the third thanks to a sloppy start and service errors. The Cougars almost came back, but the Matadors made it again. All's well that ends well. BYU closed the match in the 4th set with a 25-23 score to take the game. Well, that's a lot of sports and a lot of good-looking men playing sports.
I know. I mean, I continue to be impressed by our volleyball team. They're really fun to watch.
Number 1, that's awesome.
It's pretty amazing.
Still to come at 11 News at noon. Furry football. There was another big game yesterday that you may have missed. We've got the highlights. We'll be right back.
The Super Bowl wasn't the only big game on last night. The World Championship of Canine Cuteness was on a different channel. Animal Planet's 9th annual Puppy Bowl is the roughest game on 4 legs. These cute puppies play with chew toys until one crosses into the end zone, while hedgehogs cheer them on. Just like the real game, an MVP is chosen every year, and there's also a kitty halftime show.
Well, hedgehogs?
And Kitty halftime
Cheer
show.
them on.
Puppies, awesome.
Guys, that's what I was watching last night
dream
instead of the
come
Super Bowl.
Definitely.
So cute.
That's 11 News at noon for Monday, February 4th.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching. Have a great afternoon.